Lifespan Human Development Timeline Project by Madisyn Ledford. I am doing my Lifespan project on Annalise Keating from How to Get Away with Murder. She is a well-respected defense lawyer and professor who teaches a criminal law class. Many people admire her for her work, and many fear her for how good she is at her job. Annalise was raised by her single mother, who always made sure she had food, a roof over her head, and clothes, even though they were very poor. This had an impact on her life because many children in their socioeconomic status feel the need to take more responsibility, which means having to grow up faster, especially if you're the oldest. Positive aspect of being raised by a single mother, according to a research group from University of Florida, a child in a single-parent home may more likely be able to focus on their children and show more love and affection, just like how Annalise's mother shows throughout some of the show. Many children have resentment toward their parent that is raising them because they typically don't get to do what a child who was raised by both parents could do, such as going to summer camps or joining sports. Annalise shows resentment towards her mother because she felt as if she was not there enough for her because of her job and pushed her out of her life as Annalise got older and more successful. Although her mother had an authoritative parenting style, Annalise still resented her mother for not being able to provide more opportunities.
To care for. That's women. Did I say something funny?
Your definition of a woman. I mean, what have I ever nurtured? What have I ever protected, cared for, or loved? What have you?
You really want to sing this tune?
I'll do the melody if you do the harmony. How's that?
Showing your ass and me. You really think you're somebody, huh? High and mighty in this fancy, rich house that I never got.
Mama, right. Let's not go round and round like this. Let's just dive right in. Did you know?
Uncle Clyde is dead.
Did you know what he did to me?
He's dead. Did you hear me? The Lord made sure he got what he deserved.
So you knew.
At a very young age, Annalise was sexually abused by her uncle on multiple occasions while he was living with her and her family. This is significant because being sexually abused at a young age is correlated with higher levels of depression and relationship problems, according to an article by Melissa and Joshua Hall. Annalise shows signs of depression throughout the show, and this is one of the causes of it. She also has trouble with many of her relationships and professional ones. In the research, it stated that depression is the most common long-term symptom of sexually abused survivors. It also says that survivors tend to display a more self-destructive behavior, which is how Annalise acts when the subject of sexual abuse came up. Body issues is another long-term effect that the article talks about survivors usually having. They feel like they are dirty, ugly, have dissatisfaction with body, or the way they look. Annalise also shows this in one of the scenes when she is unmasking her true self, when she takes off all her makeup and wig. The research article also talks about how many survivors don't get help until they're an adult, which Annalise did do, and it seemed to help. Annalise went to Harvard Law School, and soon after she graduated, she opened her law office. Not too long after being a successful defense lawyer, she decided to also become a criminal law professor. Annalise having these jobs is a significant life event to her because her work is what makes her the woman she is today and how she displays some of her emotions. In a study by Daniel Goleman, he discussed and looked over the findings of emotional intelligence from John D. Mayer of University in New Hampshire and Peter Solvay at Yale. In his findings, it showed that emotional intelligence is the success of a person's career. This means being able to manage one's emotions and understanding how others feel. In the study, it also states that in most people's careers, they decide everything emotionally and spend time justifying it with logic. This study explains perfectly how Annalise became so successful throughout her cases. She would typically deny any of her clients that would lie to her about what they did because it would not help with their case, and she had strong emotions towards people who lied to her because she was lied to her most of her life. By her turning away clients, they did make her more successful because she never lost a case this way. Also in the study, it talks about how 5 components of emotional intelligence that are needed to have a successful career. Annalise portrays all 5. These 5 are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Annalise then married her therapist, Sam Keating. They were married for 20 years. Throughout the marriage, there were positives and negatives that helped and destroyed their marriage, which is what makes this part of her life significant. Through the first 10 years of the marriage, they were a very happy couple, and he was able to provide her with a beautiful home, law office within the house, and being a loving husband. Unfortunately, when she was not able to provide a child for them, which caused trouble for the last 10 years, and resulted in her husband cheating on her. In a journal by Benjamin R. Carney, he discusses the ways to keeping marriages healthy. One of the things he mentions is pointing out the aspects of a relationship that are positive. In order for most couples to stay happy, they are willing to change beliefs about what is important to them. He also stated that when a relationship has built over time, that some parts start to become more negative if not willing to change. This is shown when Annalise feels like she needs to have a child in order for the family to be complete, and Sam doesn't feel the same way. Carney also discussed how being able to see both sides to an issue that a couple may be having can also help in marriages. In the beginning, Annalise and Sam both did this, but when it came to having children, neither of them would see the sides of the situation. If there would have been a better understanding or even a change in belief in the situation, then it would have not resulted in the way that the end of the marriage did. After many miscarriages, Annalise was able to carry a child to full term until she was in a car accident. When she was rushed off to the hospital, they had to give her a C-section, and this is when she discovered she lost the baby. This is a significant life event because this is a time where she had to learn how to deal with her severe depression. In a journal written by Elizabeth Newman, she discusses how there have been research conducted about how women end up mourning for much longer than usual. The author quotes from a book called Reproductive Trauma about how losing a baby can also cause a loss of women's sense of self, hopes, and dreams of the future. This quote exemplifies how Annalise felt when she lost her only child that she was able to carry. The journal also discussed how much a woman cares about the loss of the child, whether it is 11 weeks or 20, which is why this is why they label it traumatic loss. Not only did Annalise have depression due to losing the baby of unnatural cause, but she also had postpartum depression. In the journal, it also discusses how women feel like they aren't able to nurture or take care of anything or anybody if they aren't able to have a child. This is also an example of how Annalise feels throughout the series. The combination of the both caused Annalise to start drinking and was later diagnosed with severe depression.